I'm Chris, and this here is the Instant Lo-Fi Junky by ZVEX. Today we're going to be making some pedal boards with it. We're going to get some beautiful sounds, some absolutely diabolical ones. Let's have a look. So I've done quite a few lo-fi guitar videos on this channel, and every time I do them, I use like quite a lot of pedals, and I like the control, alright? Okay, I'm a little bit of a control freak with that, but every time I do it, people say in the comments, why don't you just get a ZVEX Lo-Fi Junky? And I resisted because it was like giving all of my fun over to one pedal, and your commotion in the comments has paid off pretty well for me, thank you very much, because ZVEX have sent me one, so thanks to those guys. Fair play to ZVEX, because when I talk to a company about trying out one of their pedals, I always say to them, like, have you watched my channel? Have you realized that I make everything sound kind of horrible? So any pedal company that sends me something, I think they're very, very confident. Essentially, it's a brick wall limiter. A vibrato adds this kind of magical tape-like compression. I really like pedals that I put in the category of it just makes everything sound better. A lot of them go at the start of the chain, like some good boosts do it. A good analog octave can do it. Compression obviously does it at the start or at the end. Some EQs can do it, arguably. This just finishes off everything, and especially in an age where we're using a lot of digital gear, to pair this with a real amp or an amp sim can anagalize everything a little bit more. We'll just quickly go over some of the settings here, alright? Just to start us off with something really, really horrible. Like when I got it, the first thing, I've been lusting after the JHS 424 pedal that they've just released that gives you that kind of Tascam weirdly overdriven sound. So in 2025, we've all started realizing that it's okay to use DI guitar. I was like, I wonder if this can do that, because it's got a nice compression to it. It kind of distorts things in a nice tape-like way. What happens if it just goes straight into the desk, all right? And obviously, I'm putting it into a metal zone first. Great boost, by the way. And then going into some quite modulated reverb. And this compresses reverb very, very well. Have a listen to this. I love that sort of thing. That's the kind of horrible thing that I really, really love. By the way, all the gear listed in the video is linked in the description, so check it out. Give it a like and a subscribe while you're down there, alright? We can obviously use this in a more conventional way where we are putting it through an amp afterwards. Alright, so we're still compressing the reverb, still using the metal zone, obviously. You can start to get some quite beautiful sounds with that. About towing that line between beautiful and horrible, all right? This is a grossness that you really want in your life. Works well. We'll go through a Plumes here because Plumes is very, very good kind of to, especially with a Jaguar, it just kind of pushes things nicely into the compression there. Like it's filtering that out a little bit, then going straight into some cave reverb from the HX Stomp. Even though we're going into that digital amp, when this hits that reverb afterwards, we're really in beautiful city. So that tape-like compression saturation that it gives, quite often use like a plugin to add that tape saturation and compression post, but this was so desirable that I thought, well, what about if I use it as an external effect in Ableton? So here I'm using one of my old videos where I used to do chord videos, remember that? And I'll compare it between the original signal and then using this as a kind of finisher. And I tell you what, like, I think this is going to be something that I use quite often in the studio as an external effect. It is the last thing in the chain. So compare the two. It's quite subtle what I've done here, but I'll compare them side by side. While working with this, putting delay before, delay after, fuzz, different distortions, I've experimented with stacking distortions into it. Because the distortions and the fuzz are already compressing and saturating, then it's going into this, which is further vibrato and then it's saturating it, everything. You get kind of almost... The most obvious thing to do with it was to do something along the lines of Robert Fripp, his kind of Frippitronics thing. So we're getting that extremely, almost cello-like, fuzz, big muff style tone. We're stacking the Plumes, the big muff, then into the metal zone. We're going into a delay, all right, a tape delay. Get that Frippatronic sort of thing. It's in the spirit of things. Into a reverb, then into this. It gets quite a diabolical cello sort of lead tone going. Volume pedal here for the swells, but also because like if you don't use a volume pedal, it is quite a noisy setup, this, which we don't mind. If you can mute the strings and stuff, all right, you're safe. But having a volume pedal there, just it's a little bit of a safety net, all right? So let's put that over a loop, because we've got the loop pedal on the board. Oh, by the way, we've also got the Boss slicer, kind of set it in a weird thing where it sounds like a little record skip or a tape skip. Like tremolo just dropouts every now and again that you sometimes get with tape, really destroying the signal, you know. So we're using that lead tone over a loop that's also recorded through the same board, and we're using this as an outboard effect again. So we've got double the ZVEX Lo-Fi Junky as well, just to finish things off. See how you like it.